If you are considering starting your own business, then there's probably a lot of questions on your mind. You're thinking about how big the market is and how much profit different businesses could earn and how big your expenses might be, how much startup capital you would need. One of the most important things you are thinking about, though, is one of those questions that I just mentioned. How much profit could your business earn? Specifically, what will your profit margins be? Because different types of businesses earn different profit margins. Some businesses bring in a lot of revenue every single year, but their profit margins are really small, which makes them a more risky type of business to run. And it means that the business won't be earning much actual income, much profit, until the business becomes very, very large. Whereas on the other hand, there's some other types of businesses that have pretty high profit margins, so you can make a good living running them even before your business becomes very large. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a study that was done by a company called Abrego back in 2016, so a couple of years ago. They analyzed a lot of different sectors of business to figure out what the profit margins of those different sectors were to help you figure out which type of business you might want to start, because some of them are a lot more profitable than others. Now, just in case you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, let me just give you a quick example. If a business brought in $1 million and their profit margin was 10%, that would mean that after paying all their expenses, paying their employees, paying their taxes, they would have about $100,000 left over. This is money that can then be reinvested back into the company to grow it even bigger, or the owner can take it as a draw, as basically part of their take-home pay. So in this study that Abrego did, they found 15 different industries that had the highest profit margins, and I'm going to share each of them with you. However, I also wanted to mention that something that's very interesting about this is that there are 2 or 3 different industries that aren't on this list that I happen to know make really high profit margins. So after we get through this list, I'm going to share those with you also, because like I said before, if a company has a much higher profit margin, that means that it's less risky and that you can support yourself with it and earn more profit before your company gets to be a humongous corporation. So with that being said, let's get on into this list of these 15 different companies that are earning the highest profits. Starting at the bottom of the list, the industry that earns the 15th highest profit margin is other schools and instruction. So this is any sort of educational company that isn't your standard school or college or trade school. Is this a type of company that you could start? Well, the answer is actually probably yes, because we're not talking about an accredited university here. In fact, this 15th most profitable industry is specifically excluding that type of educational establishment. We're talking here about online training companies or companies that offer trainings to employees at businesses. That means that with a bit of hard work, anyone could start this type of company. Number 14 is medical and diagnostic laboratories. An example of this would be a laboratory that analyzed medical samples. Now, at first thought, you might think you definitely cannot start a business like this. And I'll admit that this would be a more difficult type of business to start, mostly because there are a lot of government requirements that you would have to follow. However, don't think that you can't because you're not a doctor. Many businesses in the medical field, as you'll see as we go down this list, are actually owned at least in part by entrepreneurs. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs with business know-how partner up with medical professionals who don't have the capital or the expertise to actually start a business. So even if you're not a doctor today, don't completely cross this option off your list. The 13th most profitable industry is non-metallic mineral mining, coming in with an average profit margin of 11.2%. Now, this is an industry that would require quite a lot of money to start, and that might prevent you from being able to start such a company. However, there is still opportunity out there, and you might be able to partner up with someone if you have business expertise, or you have expertise in non-mineral mining, or you happen to have capital. The 12th most profitable industry is offices of physicians. So this is basically doctors' offices, and they earn an average profit margin of 11.5%. So going back to our earlier example, for every $1 million that a doctor's office takes in, they're earning an average of about $110,500. And of course, that is an average. All of these numbers are, some doctors' offices earn a much higher profit than that, and others earn much lower. Now, as I mentioned before, when we were talking about laboratories, just because you're not a doctor doesn't mean that this is something you can't even consider. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs with business expertise or with startup capital partner with medical professionals to help them get their businesses off the ground. And in fact, in these situations, typically the entrepreneur is the one keeping the bulk of the profits. The 11th most profitable industry on our list is warehousing and storage, coming in with an average profit margin of 11.6%. So this is a very similar profit margin to several of the other businesses that we've just looked at, and this might be a good fit for you if you know of an opportunity to purchase some land. Perhaps you can get a bank loan to purchase some land and build a warehouse facility and take advantage of this opportunity. The 10th most profitable industry earns an average profit rate of 12.3%, and these are companies that do activities related to real estate. And this refers to things such as escrow companies or companies that are providing listing services for real estate listings. This is not talking about property managers, it's not talking about realtors or real estate agencies. We'll talk about a few of those other industries in a little bit here because some of them are higher up on our list. However, title and escrow companies are examples of companies that are doing real estate activities. The 9th most profitable industry is automotive equipment rental and leasing. Companies like this rent out cars, they rent out trucks, they might even rent out some other equipment and the equipment that can go along with these vehicles. And these companies have an average profit margin of 12.5%. The 8th most profitable industry on our list has an average profit margin of 12.8%, and that is specialized design services. Now, I wasn't sure exactly what this one meant, and so I had to look it up because I was wondering if maybe it meant architecture design or engineering, but no, it actually specifically excludes things like that and instead is referring to things like graphic and interior design. The 7th most profitable industry is offices of dentists, and they earn an average profit rate of 14.1%. Just as we've discussed before, even if you aren't a dentist yourself, you still might be able to partner with the dentist and help them get their practice off the ground. At number 6 is offices of other health professionals. This is referring to other types of doctors' offices that are a bit more specialized. They might be massage therapists, they might be physical therapists, ophthalmologists, or ENTs. The 5th most profitable industry is real estate agencies, earning an average profit rate of 14.8%. Real estate agencies don't require an enormous amount of capital to start, and becoming a realtor yourself is not an extremely lengthy process. Once you are a realtor, there are steps that you can follow to become the owner of a real estate agency. At number 4, we find outpatient care centers. These are medical care centers that don't require overnight stays, and they earn an average of 15.9% profit. The 3rd most profitable industry is lessors of real estate, otherwise known as landlords or people who lease or rent out real estate. So these people have invested into real estate and now they are leasing or renting it out to others. And I love that this is number 3 on the list, the 3rd most profitable industry, because there's such a low barrier to entry here. Yes, you do need to acquire a bit of capital. However, you can get started with as little as about $10,000 because of the availability of bank loans for real estate. And by the way, to anyone who thinks, no, you need more, that's actually how I got started with real estate investing myself, with $10,000 that I'd saved from my job. The 2nd most profitable industry is legal services. That would be our lovely attorneys, and they earn an average profit margin of 17.4%. And coming in at number 1 as the most profitable industry is, quite fittingly, accountants, tax preparers, and bookkeepers. These financial professionals earn an average of 18.3% in profit. And because there are several different types of financial professionals in this industry, there are also differing levels of difficulty to get into this industry. You can become a bookkeeper relatively easily, but to become something a bit more technical, like a certified public accountant or certified financial planner, will require a bit more schooling. Okay, well that brings us to the end of this list of the 15 most profitable industries that you could possibly start a business in these days. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are a couple industries that were left off this list, and I find that very interesting. Now, these are industries that have arisen in very recent years, and they're also industries that are on a much smaller scale, and so I think that a lot of people who are doing studies and even the government has a bit of trouble tracking how much money these businesses are earning and how large or small their profit margins are. However, I work in one of these industries and I work with a lot of other people who work in these industries, so I have some insider knowledge on how much money people are bringing in and how much they are actually keeping. So let's talk about these 3 different industries. The first one I want to talk about is freelancing. Now, I understand why this one wasn't on the list because freelancing encompasses actually many different industries. And at least one type of freelancing was mentioned on this list in the industry labeled as specialized design services. Also, some bookkeepers are freelancers. However, there are many other freelance career options, and many of them have very high profit rates. The thing about freelancing is that your business typically is going to be quite small. Maybe you're bringing in $20,000 a year, $50,000, $100,000, or a couple $100,000. But the great news is that you get to keep most of that as profit. In fact, after paying for your taxes and your expenses, you might be keeping anywhere between 25 and 75% of your earnings as profit. And that's because typically with freelancing, your expenses will be fairly low and you won't have any employees or payroll expenses. Another industry left off this list, and perhaps the most difficult to measure, is personal brands. And one reason why these would be so difficult to measure is because I don't think it's even classified as an industry yet. However, we find all of these people online who are professional YouTubers or Instagrammers, and they have a personal brand, and they're making money perhaps from advertising, they're making money from sponsorships, and from different types of partnerships. People in this industry range from micro-influencers with just a few thousand followers who are bringing in perhaps a few $100s a month, all the way up to the likes of Kylie Jenner, who recently became the world's youngest self-made billionaire. And just to illustrate how amazing the profit margins can be in this industry, Kylie's cosmetic company actually has only a very, very small handful of less than a half a dozen employees. And they're able to have such a small team because they outsource a lot of their production. That also means that they outsource their production costs, and so most of the money that the business itself brings in is pure profit. And the final industry that I want to share with you that wasn't on this list is digital content businesses. Now, these businesses are in some ways a lot like personal brands. However, they go a step further. They're not necessarily just one person, and the brand isn't necessarily based around the face of one person. It can be a bigger company with a bigger mission than that. But the other thing that sets these companies apart is that they're not selling a physical good, but they're also not just doing partnerships and collaborations. Rather, they're selling digital content. They might be selling online video courses or ebooks or even a web series. These businesses are extremely profitable because they can be run with very small teams, and the production costs for these digital content products are extremely minimal. This means that these digital content businesses typically have profit margins well over 50%. In this video, I shared with you a lot of different business opportunities, and some of them were a lot more accessible than others. Personally, I run an online business, and I love the flexibility that it provides me because not only can I run my business from anywhere in the world, but I also can run it on my own schedule. If you're interested in starting your own online business, then I have a free resource that could help you out. It's a short guide called The 8 Ways to Make Money Online. There's basically 8 main ways to make money online, including everything from affiliate marketing to selling courses to starting a membership site to selling physical products. And in that guide, I break it all down. I share which ones are more profitable, which ones are easier to run, and also the one that I most recommend to myself. If you're interested in grabbing that guide, it's completely free, and there's a link in the description box down below where you can grab it for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it really helpful and really interesting to hear these different numbers on the profit rates that different companies and different industries earn. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every single week, and I'd love to have you join me for the next one. All right, well that's it guys. Thanks so much. Hope you're having an amazing week, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, I know it looks like I'm sitting a little closer to my camera than normal, but it's actually because I got a new lens and I'm sitting a lot further away from my camera than normal. And I'm hoping that you guys can hear me because, I mean, really, look at how far away this is.